Okay, let's talk about sequences. Now, you know that this is going to be, I mentioned that this is going to be a requirement for your final package, right? A sequence. I want to make sure that you fully understand what a sequence is. Let's get right into it. A video sequence is a series of shots, so a number of shots, not just a few, it's just a couple, a series of shots on the same subject that are edited together to tell a story. A well-edited video sequence adds visual variety to video storytelling. A sequence usually consists of 3 or more, notice I say or more, because I like to see more shots than just 3. A wide, a medium, a tight. Notice how there's a variety of shots and a variety of focal lengths. A sequence breaks down a scene. It can shorten the time it takes to watch the scene unfold in real time. A sequence is editing using match on action. I'll explain what match on action is. Match on action refers to editing an action without jumping. For example, when cutting from one shot to another, it should be fluid and smooth. The end of the first shot needs to be fluid with the start of the second shot. Does that make sense? So if you're shooting a person walking and cutting from a wide shot to a tight shot, let's say, if the person is stepping down on his right foot when the first shot stops, that very next shot needs to pick up from that right foot, continuing the motion. So at the very end of your first shot, let's say he steps down on his right foot, in that tight shot, that next shot, it needs to start with his foot, his right foot already on the ground, and continue the motion to his left, right, left, right. Make sense? Otherwise, it jumps and it looks like he's skipping, right? Let's talk about the shot selection itself, the focal length. Wide shots, medium shots, extreme wide shots, medium close-ups, extreme close-ups, okay? Those are called focal lengths. Here is an example of shot selection, making up a sequence. A wide shot can kind of establish where it is, right? You see that a lot in establishing shots. A wide shot is where it is. A medium shot, a lot of times, kind of gets in on the action, right? It shows the action taking place. Now a tight shot, let's say a tight shot on the hands of a subject, it shows what's happened, what they're actually doing, the details of it, right? That tight shot, let's say of a face, is the who. That's who doing it. You get in there and you say, here, look at his hands, look at his face. You're getting in there. How about the over-the-shoulder one, the OTS? That shows the perspective or that point of view. We've talked about POV shots before, right? It shows their perspective. Let's show you what a sequence looks like.
Storytelling. I mean, every time we make a video, aren't we just telling a story? And just as a written story is made of words, and sentences, and paragraphs, compelling video stories are also made up of smaller pieces. I know there's a key here somewhere. Oh, there it is. Individual shots strung together to tell a story. Learning how to shoot a video sequence, well, it can go a long way to turn your video story from dreadful to delightful. Sequencing is the foundation of video storytelling. You do it by compressing time. Without this compression, what you're left with are long, boring video clips. Proper sequencing gives a video editor a better way to tell the story by using a combination of wide, tight, and medium shots. By creating a sequence like this, you can efficiently propel your audience through your story. Sequencing helps you to compress time by compressing action. If you videotape the process of somebody scrambling an egg, it takes too long to show it as one continuous shot. You would show them entering the kitchen, opening the fridge, getting out an egg, finding a pan. Well, you get the idea. Here, I've sped up the process because it took over 3 minutes in real time. But you don't have that kind of time. If your video is boring, your viewer's gone. You have about 4 seconds before they decide whether they're going to stay or go. So sequencing helps you tell your story. Let's revisit our egg scene. We go from wide to a string of close-ups. Each shot gives the viewer an important detail about the story. We move quickly through the process, a string of peak moments, right down to the sizzle of the butter in the pan. To shoot this right requires some thought before you even begin to fire up your camera. You might want to make a list of all the shots you think you're going to need. But you know what? Edit it together. You can take this real-time 3-minute clip and cut it down to 20 seconds or less. The cool thing is, your audience understands this sequence of shots and accepts this compression of time. Why is that? Well, it's because we see it all the time in television and in movies. Good eggs.
I want you to try to pick up on some of the things that you saw in those sequenced shots, okay? You need to be conscious of your frame at all times. The left side, the right side, top and bottom, all 4 sides of your frame you need to be conscious of. You need to be conscious of all the movement that's going on inside that frame. Things entering frame left, things exiting frame right, things coming in from the top, coming out from the bottom, right? Making sure people exit your frame, okay? When you allow the subject to exit your frame, it clears the next shot to be able to use something else. Like, let's say, for instance, a person that you're focusing on is walking with, I don't know, they're holding something and they're carrying, let's say, a bag, and they're taking that bag and they're going to put it on the table. Well, you show a wide shot of them walking into your frame and they exit frame left with the bag. And then the next shot, you show a tight shot of the table and they bring the bag in. Now, you have to make sure that you frame it up the right way so that they continue to enter frame right because they left frame left, correct? If they exit frame left, they have to enter frame right to continue to be going towards the left. Make sense? I don't want to confuse you. If the wide shot is of a person carrying a bag and they move out of the frame to the left of your frame, when you frame up the table, you need to make sure that that person continues to be going in the left direction, right? So coming in from the right side and moving into the frame and dropping the bag on the table. Does that make sense? You have to make sure, again, that feet go down at the same time as the next shot coming up. So you don't want them to look like they're skipping. You don't want there to be, you want the match on action to look like it's action being picked up from the previous shot, okay? It can't jump. You can also shorten a sequence. Did you see how many shots he was able to, or how long that shot would have been if he would have showed the scrambling of that egg in real time? But instead, he just showed a sequence of shots. A shot of them getting the eggs out of the fridge, a shot of them getting the pan out, a shot of them dropping butter into the pan, a shot of them cracking an egg, a shot of them scrambling the egg and pouring it in the pan, a shot of the pan coming in, a shot of the pan coming into the shot of the plate and the egg sliding onto the plate. That's all you need. You don't need all this unnecessary real-time motion because it takes too long. A sequence can be the shortening of time, but also sequences aren't just the shortening of time, it's also showing a bunch of shots of one central character and not jumping. Let's talk about the hummingbird. That hummingbird. It wasn't a sequence of time, right? We didn't have to shorten the time, but we wanted to make sure that no shot jumped after the first shot. So what did they do? They started with a wide shot of the hummingbird feeder with the hummingbird to the right of the bird feeder, facing toward with its beak inside the feed. When they ended that shot, they made sure that the next shot was a tight shot of the same hummingbird on the same right side of the frame with their beak still facing left into the hummingbird feeder, and they picked it up from that. They waited for the bird to leave the frame. Then the editor is free to cut to any other shot of the hummingbird because they've left the frame. So it doesn't matter what position the bird is in because he's no longer in the frame, right? So they could cut to another shot, which they cut to a medium shot at that point of the hummingbird in a completely different direction. The body was in a different direction. Does that make sense? You always have to be conscious of what direction your character is facing, what side of the frame they entered in, whether or not they left the frame, because that will dictate what you can edit to. You notice also, though, that a lot of these shots were tight. Cutting from wide to wide to wide to wide can get you in trouble because there's more things to go wrong. The tighter that you shoot, the more things will in fact leave your frame, freeing you up to cut to another shot. Does that make sense? I want you to think about that. I want you to look at this. This person came out of the frame on the right and then they went to the left. Okay, let's back this up though. Okay, so let's look at this first. All right, the person comes in, she's coming straight towards you. So she's kind of moving from the right to the left. Do you notice that? Okay, so which direction does she exit? She exits the left side of the frame, correct? So that next shot still needs to be on her, the camera is on her left side, on the left side of her arm, correct? So we got to stay on the left side of her in the next shot. You ready? Okay, what side did she come in? She still entered on screen right, and she's still continuing to go towards the left. And what side of her body are we on? We're still on her left side. Let's see if the next shot sticks with it. What is she coming in now? Now, this is an example of a jump cut. Because what did she do? Let's rewind. She exited the frame. She's going from right to left, and we are on the left side of her body. But yet she's coming in on the left frame, going right. Picture like you were shooting a football, some football plays, and the photographer was on one side of the field, and they were shooting these guys moving from screen left to screen right. But then all of a sudden, and you show a series of shots going from left to right, left to right, left to right. But then the touchdown, you moved over to the completely opposite side of the field. And instead of going from left to right, left to right, left to right, that touchdown goes from right to left. The audience doesn't understand that you completely did a 180. You jumped to the other side of the field. They don't know that. They don't know that. For all they know is they just scored on the wrong side of the field. Make sense? So you have to keep this continuity. If your subject is moving from left to right, they have to continue to go from left to right. And when they're doing, you have to make sure that you are on the correct side of the body every time. Let's continue with the motion now. So now we're on the right side of her, correct? Let's see what she does. Okay, are we still on the right side of her? Yeah. Okay, what's the next shot? The next shot is they got a shot of the coin where they enter the coins, right? So they got a really tight shot, okay? So knowing that we are on her right side, we need to make sure that we're still on the right side of that. So she needs to enter frame left. See if it does. Sure does. Okay, we're still on her right side, correct? Are we still on her right side? We'll find out. Yep, we're on the right side of her palm, right? Of her hand. We're on the right side of the. Oh, what happened? All of a sudden, we jumped over to the left side of her body for her grabbing the food. If we would have shot this the right way, we would have been on the right side of her body grabbing those chips. Okay? So now we jumped again to the other side of the field. Make sense? She picks it up. Okay? She exited. Okay. So did you see that match on action? She was moving in, and it looked like the second shot picked up right from her pulling it out of there, right? Okay? So we're still on the left side. We're on the left side of her right now. Are we on the left side again for this shot? We sure are. Okay? I want some of those Doritos. Okay. So she's... All right. Are we still on the left side of her? We sure are. So this one is good. She moves in. She crumbles it. And she exits frame. Does that make sense? I want to make sure that you understand that it can be continuity errors by jumping from the right side to the left side of our subject. Okay? It's the 180-degree rule. You don't jump sides of the field. Think of it like a football field. Don't jump the sides of the field because people won't know if you're going left, right, or right, left. It's confusing. Let's talk about the importance of audio. All right. Recording audio. Images carry emotional punch that enhances the piece. However, images alone are not enough to make a video story work. Sound provides that narrative. That's what it all is. Your sound bites, your interviews, the people you mic up, that's the narrative message. The reporter's track, the script. That's the narrative message that tells the entire story, right? But listen, nat pops, nat sounds, things that are in the environment, sounds in the environment are also part of that narrative story. It makes you feel like you're there. The storyline holds your attention and provides information that you will remember. Pictures merely adorn and intensify what the story wants to say. Audio interviews give context and help to explain why an event is taking place. Natural sound provides texture and communicates a sense of place. Natural sound is naturally better. Nat sound, or ambient sound, is any sound other than a formal interview. Nat sound includes conversations and dialogue and also casual sounds from the environment, right? Not worried about that Coney Island roller coaster one? All right. Talk about onboard microphones. Onboard mics are usually inferior quality. That's the microphone, that's that shotgun that's on top of your camera, correct? They're good for picking up general ambient noise, but for anything select, they're very poor. Trying to record an interview with an onboard mic will result in an extreme amount of ambient or background noise, especially if you have the mic set to auto. Case in point, remember earlier in the semester I showed you the microphone tests of that guy pinning a lav mic on his body and then showing you the difference between a lav mic pinned on the body to the one that was just taken from the camera, the onboard mic. It's a huge difference, isn't it? Let's show you some of these. So, what's wrong with this? You're seeing B-roll, but I'm hearing very little natural sound at all. Very, very light. So they edited the shots okay, but I really don't hear any ambient noise. It's too low. I have no sound at all. So, and I know that guy's making steps right now, right? I know he just opened that door. I could barely hear it.
Yeah, I think it's
wait a minute. There's no microphone on him. I hear a bunch of sound in the background. Really tough to pick him up, right?
It's a big part of America, you know. There's a lot of
you see the point? Make sure that they're pinned up, otherwise it sounds ambient. Let's look at another one. All right, so we do have ambient noise here. Okay, so it's good. It's good video. I would have steadied up the camera a little bit. Kind of looks like it's on a slant a little bit. I feel like I'm sliding off the edge of the earth here. But good audio, right? I can hear that music playing back there. That's pretty decent. Okay, so we got good B-roll for this VO. and you have the audio under. The audio under is actually at a good height that I can actually talk over the top of it and not be distracting. Okay, so I'm able to talk over the top of this video and you're not distracted by how loud it was out there. So the editor did a good job of lowering the audio so that the voiceover, that anchor, could talk over it.
I don't know. I guess just being around.
Do you see a microphone?
Really been involved with like little kids sports in a long time, so it's kind of cool.
Did you hear that? Okay, very short, no microphone, clearly no microphone, right? This dude's not wearing a microphone, okay? You can definitely tell. Do you hear how ambient the noise is behind him? I mean, it's obvious. All right, we got good audio here. I can still kind of talk over the top of it, right? Not too distracting. So they did a good job of lowering the audio, and that's really loud out there, right? I mean, it's people jamming to music, right? That generator noise is getting a little bit loud now. So I can dig that. That's good. I can still talk over the top. Oh, all of a sudden it's a little bit loud and I'm having trouble being heard, right? It's kind of tough to hear that. So I'd lower the audio on all this a little bit more.
Was once in Houston, Texas, and they have been doing this for a number of years very successfully.
All right, what's wrong with
to
this?
support a school there, and he brought the idea to
Not
us.
only are they not
And
mic'd
so
up,
we wanted to be able to support.
but it's really distracting because of all of the background music. It's a really loud place to begin with, right? It's a concert or a fair or a picnic, right? So there's going to be music playing, there's going to be a commotion, lots of stuff. The best thing to do is, well, first of all, pin a microphone on them. You got to put a lav mic on them. But also, get them away from there. Get them away from all that music. It's not too much to ask your subject, hey, listen, it's really loud here. Do you mind if we step over here into the parking lot where it's a little bit quieter so I can actually get a really good audio here? I need to make sure that your audio is audible. It's got to be good quality, okay? And when you are in a loud environment to begin with and you don't mic them up and you're expecting to get it and have an understandable soundbite from that person, and you also have distracting background noise, that just ups the ante. It's even more difficult to pick out those sound bites. There's a huge difference. Do you see what I'm saying? Okay, onboard microphones are great for capturing that nat sound, but they're just not good for picking up interviews. The auto will automatically raise and lower the ambient noise in the background. Every time the person speaking pauses, you'll hear that audio climb, because if it's on auto, your camera is searching and constantly raising and lowering your volume to record whatever it hears, whatever it picks up, and making it playable at the same level, at an optimal playback level, which a lot of people refer to as unity. Unity is an optimal playback level, okay? That's as high as possible without hitting the red, without distorting, okay? You will never get adequate audio interviews with an onboard microphone, so just don't even try it. Never, 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 okay? The closer is better. Positioning is key. The closer the mic is to the source, the better the audio will be. Mics are not magic, not even boom mics. Booms can pick up from a good 10 to 15 feet, but any further, and you're not going to get good audio. Lav mics or dynamic stick mics, and even some onboard mics that have omnidirectional. Omnidirectional means that it picks up audio from all directions. Remember, we talked about this before. And omni meaning more than one direction. Omnidirection is more than one direction. But uni, remember uno? Uni means one direction. Unidirectional mics means that it picks up audio from one direction. Okay, we've already talked about that. The placement of that lav mic though. Lav placement on the subject is very important. Typically, lavs are clipped to the person's shirt around the second or third button down from the chin. if they were in an Oxford shirt. Run the cord up the shirt. What did I just say? Run the cord up the shirt. Let's try that a third time. Run the cord up the shirt so the cord does not show in the shot. It looks tacky as can be, guys. It's tacky. We call it a snake, like a snake crawling up our subject. It looks tacky as can be to just pin somebody up and have this dangling microphone just hanging down. Now, we're not saying for you to put this thing up that person's shirt. Well, first of all, don't do that. Even if they say, oh, sure, go ahead and do that. No, let's just not do that. Ask the subject that you're interviewing, hey, would you please mind taking this? Unfortunately, it'll require you to untuck your shirt, but if you don't mind, could you run this from underneath your shirt up to your collar, and we'll pin it to your lapel or pin it to your third button, okay, right around that positioning? It just looks better. It looks cleaner, okay? And it gets it higher towards the person's mouth. You want to be a few inches from the person's mouth. Don't get lazy and try to hang it on there, okay? Most important accessory to properly monitor audio is your headphones, your earbuds. That is the most important accessory that will monitor your audio. But not only are you listening by putting your ears or earbuds in or headphones on, you also have to be watching in your VU meter to see if it peaks or clips. Okay? So you're watching the LCD screen, you're watching your levels bounce, you're making sure you don't enter into the red, which would cause clipping or distortion, but you're also listening with your headphones on or earbuds in to hear if there's any distraction. Like let's say they pop the microphone. Or what happens if a lawnmower is picked up in the background? You wouldn't have noticed it by not wearing earbuds. But with your earbuds in, you can really detect it. It might be a little bit more pronounced. And you might have to say, hey, you know what? Let's stop right there. Let's go ahead and take you and move you over a little bit over here because that lawnmower is really distracting. If you do not monitor your audio as it is being recorded, it's like trying to listen to someone with your earbuds plugged, with your ears plugged, sorry. You see the person's lips moving, but you can't say for sure that they're making any noise. For all you know, they may just be moving their lips. The only way to get clear, proper levels is to use your headphones or earbuds. There are countless reasons to wear headphones, but the main reason is to listen for any of these. Background noise like an air conditioner or refrigerator or ticking clock or passing cars. These sounds may not seem loud to you, but your mic may be picking them up very well. You also want to listen for microphone noises such as ruffle or pops, like I said. Monitoring your audio means you will need to control or ride your audio. When someone is mic'd up, your camera should be set to manual. Okay, so your audio input, that switch should be on manual for your lav mic. When in manual, you will have to set the proper incoming level to unity. Riding your audio means constantly watching your levels. You're constantly watching that LCD screen. People don't talk in monotone. They get excited. They raise their voice. They lower their voice. They use inflection. If you don't properly ride your audio, you will have too low or too high, distorted audio. How about Nat sound? I've been pumping Nat sound at you guys all semester long. This is big, right? Collecting natural sound. Seasoned multimedia journalists will collect Nat sound as they go. What this refers to is listening to the environment. You got to shut up and listen, man. Listen to things that are making the noises where you're shooting. Walking up to any source of audio and recording about 8 to 10 seconds of them. So you'll literally take your microphone, your camera, Like let's say you're shooting a creek. Well, yeah, you can get a wide shot, and yeah, you hear some running water from 50 feet away from it where you are. Yeah, so you're collecting the audio, right? But is it good audio? Is it good audio of that running water? Where can you get better audio quality of that stream? Get down there. Go to the source. Literally take your camera off the tripod, walk up to the side of the creek, put it on the ground really close, and point it at the water traveling over the rocks. Record a good 8 to 10 seconds of uninterrupted audio of just that natural sound. You're not going to use that shot because, I mean, what's it a shot of? You holding a camera real close to the source? You're not going to use it because the camera might be tipped downward and it might be handheld and shaky. But that's not the point of what you're recording. You're not recording it for video purposes. You're recording it for audio purposes, to place it elsewhere. You might place it when you're showing the wide shot. You take the video from the wide shot, but delete the audio that's attached to it and use the audio from the close-up right next to the creek shot. So the video from one shot, the audio from the next shot. That's how multimedia journalists collect and sprinkle great sounds throughout their piece as nat sound pops, nat sound bridges, or just audio beds. Here's an example of collecting nat sound.
Brother love. I've always loved the music. I've always been involved with it one way or another. It's every entertainer's dream to see their names up in light. Now, it was somebody that gave me a nickname when I was bowling up in New York. Yo, G-Man, you're up. The adrenaline probably gets rushing just before you start to go up on stage. You take a look at the audience, and the first thing you want to do is get them up and get them going. It's like a bullet coming out of a gun. You want to get it started, you want to get it going.
Do you know Neil Diamond? He's better than Neil Diamond.
Woo! Let's say that for the G-Man. Hot, sweaty night. And we stayed and listened to this awesome singer, right? We follow the G-Man everywhere we can. When did you first discover the G-Man, Bonnie?
3 years.
How many years? I bet we got beat you. 4 years?
For the older women, I think I might be a little bit of a sex symbol.
He's good looking.
And that woman says he's got a nice body.
And, somebody said one day you sound like Neil Diamond, and the rest has been history.
I just sat down.
All right, ladies, here we go.
Glad I'm not an Elvis impersonator, because I would have to be out there shaking my hips too much. Thank God it is Neil Diamond. I can lay back a little bit. You know, when you see the smile on the people's faces, then you know you're getting to them. They respond very well to a lot of this music. Without the audience, we don't have it. We got to make sure that they're there. So you're only as good as your last gig. But when you get to that end, you want to bring them up as far as you can and bring them up as high as you can, and then walk away and leaving them wanting more.
Okay, not sure if you actually saw that package earlier in the semester. Sometimes I'll show that as another example earlier on in the semester, but if not, it's a great example of actually collecting natural sound. In this case, the natural sound was really tough to capture. Not only did I pin on a wireless microphone onto a couple of the characters, those characters that I found that were extroverts, right? They're heavily involved. They're impacted by this singer, this Neil Diamond impersonator. It shows what they're saying. I'm capturing the moments and the sound bites that they say and using them to tell the story. Notice there's no reporter in this piece. It's completely told by the naturally collected sounds. The sights and the sounds tell the entire story. and they have to be able to do so completely. It's tough. It's tough. Also, when you're dealing with music, if you're covering a concert or something like this, there's a lot of music going on all the time. So it's really hard when you're using sound bites that are taken from a lav mic from an interview or a pinned up person, spectator. It's really tough. You have to be really conscious of the music that's playing in their background as they're saying the bite that you need. You have to be very careful about the audio that's underneath that, okay? So it's even more important, the placement of the microphone. If you're collecting sounds from somebody with a lot of distracting noise in their background, you have to make very sure that that microphone is as high as possible on the collar, okay? All right, let's talk about pops. Nat sound pops. Nat sound pops occur in between shots, interviews, or transitions. Nat sound pops need to fit. If the sound does not match the feel of the video, then it's being used at the wrong moment. Now, a lot of times I'll show this piece earlier in the semester, and if you've seen it, go ahead and fast forward through it, but it's a great example of a lot, I mean a lot of natural sound pops. They're everywhere.
You got a microphone on, you can't whisper, dude.
This is not an average day. But William Lowry, a seemingly shy, nervous 28-year-old,
Got how many more days till you leave?
2.
is not your average guy. He is a power lifter, equestrian rider, and multi-sport athlete.
On my shoulder. Alright.
He is also blind.
I was born very sick and with a collapsed lung.
When he was a baby, the doctor said that he wouldn't be able to basically do anything. He wouldn't be able to see, he wouldn't be able to hear. A little tidbit.
Yes.
William can hear, and for a long while he could see.
I was being smart aleck.
His sight has since gone away. His drive has not.
He can deadlift over 300 pounds.
And do something I actually like. And I know hardly no one else is doing the stuff I'm doing.
But this story isn't just about William. It's about William and Fernando.
My stuff is usually just papers lying around.
Fernando Vasquez is all eyes. He is an illustrator for the FX animation series Archer.
Every drawing has its own quirks. It develops the critical thinking and the eye for detail that eventually translates to climbing as well.
Higher, higher.
Fernando is also an athlete who spends many days scaling walls at Atlanta's Stone Summit.
All right, here's the chair. To your left.
That's where he met
There it is.
his future
Further.
inspiration.
All right.
William was already there, learning a new sport.
It's just amazing to see someone blind climbing, and I was just intrigued. All right, just wait for me.
Fernando decided to volunteer with Catalyst Sports,
Bring that right foot
a
in.
nonprofit that aids disabled athletes.
That's right.
They made him
And lower.
William's eyes.
All the way up. So when you're on a wall and you're blind and you're trusting someone to guide you, it's kind of a special thing. Good job.
To watch these two is special.
Last one.
Fernando is William's eyes, but he is also William's friend.
Go take a break. He's a little bit shy at first, but once you get to know him, he won't stop speaking.
You're not the only instructor that messed up.
There's something else.
It goes that way.
Faith requires belief in what one cannot see.
That's it.
William has faith dozens of feet in the air that Fernando will steer him right.
And get your left foot up to your knee.
Fernando has faith that William won't give up.
I can't hear you anymore.
All right, you want to come down?
No!
And by not giving up, he'll reach the highest of heights.
You still get the same feeling.
What's that?
You're up, I don't know, 40 feet and you don't have to worry about nothing? Every time I see a clip.
Last month, William competed at the U.S. Paraclimbing National Championships.
That's like...
There, he qualified to go to the World Championships in Spain. Then they all raised money so Fernando could join him.
I include Fernando in my prayers every night. I'm very thankful for the people that have come into William's life that help him achieve his goals.
Feeling good? Ready for the plane?
Yes.
So now they go together to Spain and the continuation of a journey far beyond average.
Well, that's good to know.
William's eyes, Fernando's inspiration.
Working with people that others think are disabled, I'm just giving him credit. I'm assuming that he can do more every time.
Matt Pearl, 11 Alive News.
If we showed that earlier in the semester, that's fine. I just wanted you to get an idea of great natural sound, okay? I mean, there's probably 60 plus nat pops. That literally required that editor to raise and lower that audio 60 times, however many times, okay? I want to show you what it actually looks like, okay? I've talked about the nat pops itself, but in Adobe Premiere Pro, if you look at this, obviously this is the video one layer, okay? And we have a shot of, okay, it looks like this is a shot from the outside the Bragg building, okay, at MTSU's campus, okay? So you've got people outside, you have a person walking in, okay, and then you cut to a shot of, it looks like it's a sequence of the next location that they're in. So going from outdoors to indoors. Okay, so my guess is this sound right here, this is just the regular sound underneath it, okay? This is the track that goes with it from our reporter. So you have the reporter's track and then reporter's track again. But in between there, you notice I put a gap right there because this pop goes up right here and then down. You also notice it has 4 keyframes. 4 keyframes. 1, 2, 3, 4. You start low, you raise it, you keep it, you lower it, and it's down completely. What is this audio? It's a pop from that door right there. That door makes a noise. Let's say it creaks as it opens. That's what this pop is. So this is just gnats of them walking. Walking. All of a sudden, cocoon, and it closes and they're indoors. This is what I expect you guys to do in your stories. I want you to raise and lower your audio with key frames, okay? That's a pop. What about a bridge? I've talked about it before. I've talked about it, now I'm gonna show you it. A nat sound bridge is like a transition. As you're coming out of an interview, the last 2 seconds, you'll start to hear the audio start kind of trickling in and slowly build. When the bite finishes, that pop, boom, goes up full. Then the sound is left up full for about a full second. Then it drops to an under level. So it doesn't go all the way away. It goes down to an under level so that the next narrative can go over the top of it, whether it be a bite or a track. Okay? For bridges, it's imperative that whatever sound we're hearing is from the video we're seeing. The rule of thumb is see it first, wait for it, see it later. When people wonder where and what the sound is coming from. So what's it look like? Here you go. All right, let's set the scene. Looks like we're inside the student newsroom, the SIM, the Center for Innovation and Media at MTSU's campus. Okay, so we're inside this newsroom, and you've got, you know, plaques on the wall of the students that have won awards. You've got people in the newsroom talking on the phone, writing stories. Okay, and you've got the actual computer terminals themselves, and then you have this printer right here. Okay, this printer looks like it's printing out scripts right now. Okay, so we're seeing a series of shots of just the newsroom. And here looks like, well, there's really nothing there. I'm guessing that's just ambient noise. But you'll notice this is just commotion. This might be the audio from her talking on that phone, or this audio right here might be this person typing away, tap, 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 tap. okay? But I want you to look down here on audio layer 3. Do you see how you start to introduce at a low under level, which doesn't compete with the audio over the top of it? This might be the track. I don't know. This might be the nats and this might be the track. Not really sure. But I stopped the nats right there. Do you see the break right there? Because this sound was taken from that printer right there. But you notice the shot doesn't start until right there. But wait, I'm hearing it first? So I'm starting to hear the printer as it's printing up the papers, and then all of a sudden, boom, I see it and I hear it full for a good second. Then it goes back down to under level and fades out. Okay? Then I go on to the next thing. So we start to hear it. I hear commotion. All of a sudden, and then it fades out. Does that make sense? Okay? I got to be a little bit animated with my sound effects here just to get you to understand it. But you introduce it a little bit, then a lot, then out a little bit, and then gone. That's a bridge. You hear it before you see it. You with me? That's a Nats bridge, folks. Nats under, audio beds. Nats sound under beds. Nats sound under refers to any portion, any of the sound that is at a low enough level as to hear it, but not compete with the track over the top of it, right? The track or that interview that's over it, it doesn't compete. You can hear it. It's high enough that you can actually hear it, but not high, too high that it competes, okay? Unity refers to the audio at full, okay? I've talked about that before. Nat sound under can be ambient or even music, okay? Beds refers to music. Many stories that include music beds are typically stories of high emotion. Music adds emotion. Case in point, that piece that we showed before about the people playing music in that restaurant. Well, that was music that was captured in real time at the location. Well, in order for it to not compete with the person giving the message over the top of it, whether it's be script in track or the sound bites extracted from interviews or natural sound pops of people saying something to carry the narrative, that bed doesn't interfere with it. It's at an under level, audio under. All right, not worried about this. Okay, we will do this at a later time, but that's mainly the one that we do in class. We're not going to have that chance for this, obviously, for obvious reasons. So that is natural sound and audio.